Aloha and good afternoon. Thanks for joining us here on This Is Now. We want to begin with some news just into our newsroom out of Maui. Authorities have confirmed that a 4-year-old child is dead after an apparent drowning. Now, this happened yesterday at the Westin Ka'anapali area around 12:30. When authorities got there, a bystander was attempting life-saving measures, and the first responders took over. The child, however, was unable to be revived and later died. The victim has been identified as 4-year-old Dalen Ntwaye of White Plains, New York. Now, authorities say a preliminary investigation showed no signs of foul play, and an autopsy has been scheduled.
Now to our other top story. Opening statements began this morning in the trial of Michael Hirokawa. Now he's accused of violently attacking a woman in his Honolulu condo back in 2020. Images from the alleged attack are being shared in court today, and we want to warn you, some of them may be disturbing. Michael Hirokawa, who is currently under house arrest, has pleaded not guilty to attempted murder, sex assault, and kidnapping charges. He's accused of choking a woman, stomping on her head, and punching her in the groin while the two were at his Capitol Place condo on November 21st back in 2020. The prosecution showed photos taken that night. Court documents say a security guard found the victim naked and bleeding in the building's elevator with a trail of blood leading back to Hirokawa's apartment.
So the defendant is caught literally red-handed, and he's going to attempt to sway you with some things that don't matter in this case. This defendant is guilty of all the charges.
What you just saw is a very small portion of what you're going to have to consider. And please, don't rush the judgment until you're able to see and hear everything.
If convicted, Hirokawa could face life in prison. Meanwhile, the victim has undergone several surgeries and is living with lasting injuries since the attack. We'll have more on this story coming up on later editions of Hawaii News Now, as well as on hawaiinewsnow.com.
On Hawaii Island, a van drove into the water at Honokohau Small Boat Harbor with stunned passengers inside, and it was all caught on camera.
There's a line in the front of the boat.
Good Samaritans tell us the visitors were following instructions from their GPS when they drove right into the water. They were on their way to a manta ray tour. The passenger escaped through the window while witnesses rushed to pull the driver out.
The GPS led them straight into the harbor. I think they must have just taken their eyes off the road for a second. And I think everyone is a bit shocked. We just saw this car drive straight into the harbor, and it took us a second to figure out what was going on, because they didn't seem panicked or have any sense of urgency to get out of the car.
The van was fully submerged by the time first responders arrived, but tow crews were able to remove the vehicle. The good news is no one was hurt.
Our first alert weather team has been tracking some severe weather approaching the islands. Thunderstorms could threaten parts of the state. Let's send it over to Guy Hagi with your latest forecast.
This juicy front has already dropped a lot of rain on Kauai, on the west side of Oahu, as well as central Oahu, and more rain is yet to come by this afternoon. So this is this afternoon. You can see the rain edging towards Oahu. Tonight's going to be especially wet through tomorrow morning, but by tomorrow afternoon, things dry up significantly. And then after that, with the trade winds being so strong, we'll see some trade showers come in from time to time, mainly in the overnight and early morning hours. But the heaviest rainfall is coming in this afternoon, tonight, and tomorrow morning. That's why we've posted the red for today and tomorrow for mainly Kauai and Oahu. Remember, Kauai is now under a flood watch, meaning flooding conditions are possible. Winds will run light today and tomorrow as well. That will lead, in addition to the front, we'll have some afternoon clouds and some afternoon showers. And then trade winds pick up on Thursday. That front should be pretty much gone. We'll see just a few leftover showers, and very windy conditions are shaping up and expected for the weekend.
And be sure to scan this QR code to send us your weather images and videos. You'll also find links to all you'll need to stay on top of severe weather in your neighborhood.
Some Eva Beach residents are pushing the military to move a shooting training complex in Iroquois Point. The Pu'uloa rifle range has been drawing noise complaints from the community, along with ongoing concerns regarding shoreline erosion and lead contamination. Now state lawmakers are considering a resolution urging the Marines to relocate. At a hearing this week, military leaders said that facility trains 7,000 Marines per year, and there's no other range like it in Hawaii. They've also taken steps to minimize the noise and move the range back from the shoreline.
It'll protect it from wave action, and it'll ensure the lead does not leave. We're fully confident in our environmental stewardship practices at this facility. We're committed to continuing those.
So in the end of the day, this cannot be fixed. It's not mitigatable. This noise can also not be fixed. When you have heavy artillery shooting, the noise knocks me out of bed every morning. Sound dampening will not work.
And you can't tell me there's no way after 100 years of shooting into those berms, the amount of lead that must be contained in that sand and that soil, that it's not being bleached when it rains or when there's heavy winds, heavy storms.
The Senate committee decided to support and advance the resolution. Lawmakers also warned the military leaders that a plan to land a helicopter at the site in the future would not go over well with the community. Now to a horrific story out of Oklahoma, where 7 bodies have been discovered there about an hour south of Tulsa. Police are not releasing many details yet, but what we do know at this time is heartbreaking. Michael George has more.
We've searched the property and we've located 7 bodies.
Oklahoma law enforcement found the bodies of 2 missing teen girls in Henrietta Monday, along with a convicted sex offender, his wife, and her children.
No other family should go through what we're going through right now. And I don't even know what we're supposed to do next.
The father of 16-year-old Brittany Brewer confirmed his daughter is among the dead.
She always played with her little sister, and I don't know how I'm going to tell her, because she's like, Brittany's lost, Brittany's missing. And I got to tell a 4-year-old that she's gone.
On Monday, Oklahoma Highway Patrol reported Brewer was endangered and missing, along with her friend, 14-year-old Ivy Webster. They were believed to be traveling with 39-year-old Jesse McFadden. Brewer's father told Tulsa station KOTV that his daughter was friends with McFadden's children, had spent the weekend with the McFadden family, and was supposed to come home Sunday night. Records from the state's Department of Correction show that McFadden was convicted on first-degree rape charges in November of 2003 and released from prison in October 2020. He was slated to stand trial Monday on charges of soliciting sexual conduct with a minor and possession of child pornography. Michael George, CBS News.
The Biden administration is preparing for the end of Title 42 next week. Sources say the military plans to send 1,500 active duty troops to the southern border ahead of the COVID-era policy expiring. Title 42 allowed authorities to turn away certain migrants at the border. Sources say the troops will be there to support the Department of Homeland Security for 90 days. They will serve in administrative roles and not do any law enforcement work. As of Tuesday, some 22,000 migrants were in CBP custody. In recent days, about 7,000 migrants have tried crossing the U.S. southern border daily. Officials expect that number to rise in the coming weeks. A conservative former federal judge joined the calls today for Congress to pass ethical standards for Supreme Court justices. The statement from Judge J. Michael Luttig came as a Senate committee debated ethics at the nation's highest court, following new revelations about luxury travel and real estate deals. Skylar Henry reports.
The Senate Judiciary Committee will come to order.
In a hearing Tuesday, Democratic senators called on Congress to impose a code of ethics on Supreme Court justices.
Ethics cannot simply be left to the discretion of the nation's highest court. The court should have a code of conduct with clear and enforceable rules.
A recent investigation by ProPublica found conservative Justice Clarence Thomas accepted more than 20 luxury trips from Republican megadonor Harlan Crow without reporting them on financial disclosure forms. Crow also purchased 3 properties belonging to Thomas and his family. Additional media reports, including Politico, found other conservative justices failed to disclose real estate deals and questionably large income from a spouse.
There's a very selective outrage here.
Republicans slammed the hearing, outlining possible ethics breaches by liberal justices whose travel was paid for by various universities.
It is about trying to delegitimize a conservative court.
But in a statement, retired federal judge J. Michael Ludig said if the Supreme Court does not subject itself to the highest possible professional and ethical standards, then Congress has the power under the Constitution to prescribe those standards. Chief Justice John Roberts declined an invitation to testify. In a letter, he cited a need to preserve the separation of powers among the three branches of government. The Senate is now considering 3 bills that would impose ethics on the court. They're not likely to pass in a divided Congress. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
A new warning about sextortion. Law enforcers say more teens are being targeted. Despite all the outreach in schools, sextortion is happening in a variety of ways on social media. That includes catfishing, when a person pretends to be someone else to get inappropriate images. Some criminals are also posing as modeling agents. In addition to that, there's also revenge porn. That's when explicit images are used after a breakup.
Can put kids at an increased risk of running away or going missing. Kids might feel that it's their fault, and they may be too scared to face their parents and have a conversation that is embarrassing and very uncomfortable.
Parents, talk to your kids about these type of dangers that are out there. Kids to have a public profile, wanting as many likes and followers as possible, and to start engaging in conversations with people they don't know.
Experts say notifying police immediately can help get the inappropriate images removed before they are shared.
General Mills is recalling 4 types of its gold medal flour due to potential salmonella exposure. The nationwide recall is for 2 and 5 pound bags of bleached all-purpose flour, as well as 5 and 10 pound bags of unbleached all-purpose flour, with the best buy dates of March 27th and 28th of 2024. If you have one of these products, throw it away. The CDC and FDA says people should not eat foods with raw flour. As we continue to look at all that's changed in the years since the Kilauea eruption, we take a moment to look back at the moments leading up to the first fissure erupting.
April 17, 2018, the early signs emerge as USGS scientists notice increased magma pressure beneath Pu'u'o'o. That would lead to a rise in the crater floor. By April 26, lava at the summit overflowed onto the Halema'uma'u Basin. In the days that followed, scientists would witness crater floor collapses and an ebb of lava as it diverted back underground. Then on May 3rd,
Madam Pele shows herself in Leilani Estates. The eruption began about 4 this afternoon, spouting with little warning.
The first fissure opened in Leilani Estates, sending lava shooting to the surface. Ikaika Marzo quickly became a leading voice in the community.
Yeah, after that, we started to go door to door, try to get people evacuated out of here.
Residents, already on high alert, begin to flee their homes along the lower East Rift zones, understanding the power of nature at work. Some begin paying respects to volcano goddess Pelehonua Mea.
She's going to do what she's doing. She's cleaning house. She's just making right. She's doing what she needs to do for the community. People have been getting sick. We're in the rift zone. We've known the possibilities of her coming.
While thousands of tiny earthquakes are reported during the months-long eruption, the strongest shook the island at 12:32 p.m. on May 4th. It was a magnitude 6.9. Oh. Between May 3rd and May 6th alone, 10 fissures would crack open in the lower East Rift Zone. In total, that number would grow to 24. As the eruption raged on, more than 700 homes were damaged or destroyed. Through the hardships, the Aloha spirit shined through as Pu'uhonua o Puna was set up as an information and assistance hub for displaced residents. By early August, the eruption came to an end and alert levels were dropped. The landscape forever changed and lives permanently altered.
We're stewards, this is her land, and we are thankful for her, and when she needs to do what she needs to do and make way, make new land, and make right, then we just follow suit with her.
Our Casey Lund continues our special team coverage from Hawaii Island.
Here in Lower Puna, recovery means different things to different people. For the some 700 plus families who lost everything, complete and full recovery feels like something they may never achieve. But at least one person I talked to says the new path they found forward is bringing them much needed peace. Almost exactly 5 years ago, Susie Osborne rushed to evacuate her beloved charter school, Kua'okala, which was eventually destroyed by lava after fissures opened up in Leilani Estates back on May 3rd, 2018. Susie also lost her home.
I went home, I'm looking at all these cracks, and I'm like, what the hell? I came out to talk to the guy, and then all of a sudden we both looked and went, ah, and boom. And she exploded right there, and the county workers, get out, get out, get out. And I just jammed in my truck, had nothing, none of my animals, and that was it.
Despite her warm disposition, it's a challenging story to recount, but an important one. It's also a story she's told all too often. We've followed Susie over the last 5 years. She says now her focus isn't on the past, but on the future of her school and her students, now divided between two campuses.
We have 185 students right now. We had to let go of our high school because we didn't have the facilities. We continue to have our preschool out in Nanavale, where it always was, because that wasn't impacted. We relocated to the Nanimau in Panaeva, Cusping, Hilo, and Puna.
Osborne has found strength and encouragement through community partners and dear friends, like County Council member Ashley Kirkowitz, elected to represent District 4, Puna, shortly after the eruption.
In all my years, 47 years here, I think she's the most hardworking, committed, progressive, dynamic, collaborative, caring, deeply caring council person we've had.
My son is a kindergartner here at Kua'okala. She's a rock star. I love her, and I'm so appreciative of this unfortunate event, but the bright spot is the relationships that I've been able to develop with my community.
Kirkowitz coordinates Revitalize Puna and co-chairs the Economic Resilience Capacity Area with Susie. Recently, their efforts, in partnership with other groups, won Puna a $225,000 grant from the USDA.
We are bringing county and community members in a very intentional and meaningful way to take action on the Kilauea Recovery and Resilience Plan that was developed after the eruption.
The eruption didn't help the county's homeless problem either. In the last year, the county's number of homeless rose by nearly 20%, something Kirkowitz is working to address.
The eruption did play a role. Many folks were displaced. Obviously, the incredibly high cost of living in the islands has contributed to that.
Kirkowitz says last term she introduced legislation to create an affordable housing production fund that already has a balance of $18 million.
What that's going to do is help to get more housing on the market, helping projects get over the finish line.
Together, these two Hawaii Island women are working to heal their community, and in doing that, find their own healing as well.
It has been a really long, slow recovery, individually, for my school, and for the community at large. I think I'm finally starting to feel personal joy again after 5 years, and come back to, like, Susie's back, and hopefully my ability to manifest great things in collaboration with our community. So that's what I want. I want to see us move from surviving to thriving with joy and aloha.
I want to mahalo Susie for sharing her story. You can find out more about Revitalize Puna and some of the other resources available for those who are still struggling a half decade after that eruption. All that information is at hawaiinewsnow.com. Reporting in Lower Puna, I'm Casey Lund. For now, we'll send things back to you.
Thank you so much, Casey, for that report from Hawaii Island. Let's give you a live look outside. This is Honolulu Bay over on Kauai's North Shore. As we mentioned, we have been tracking some of that severe weather, but right now things aren't looking too bad out there. It's kind of sunny. In fact, I was texting my grandma a short time ago, and the clouds are kind of building up, but nonetheless, it is a sunny day over there on Kauai. Here on Oahu, here's a live look outside over the Kaka'ako Waterfront Park area. A little bit more clouds here on Oahu, but we are keeping an eye on this, and hopefully nothing too severe comes our way. For now, let's go ahead and check out some news from the feeds.
The 2023 Met Gala in New York City took place last night at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Gus Rosendale takes us there.
They call it New York's biggest fashion night, and at times it's its most wild. Cinderella had mice help her with her ball. We get a cat or two.
I'm very proud and very excited.
Guests parading in front of the cameras, also hiding behind some sort of fashion shrubbery. gowns, coming with teams of people, making sure the fabulous don't trip down the steps leading into the Met. And tennis star Serena Williams announcing she's expecting her second child.
What do you think Carl would think about the fact that this is for him? He would love this. Yeah.
Crowds across the street gathering since breakfast time. Amateur and professional paparazzi side by side.
It's like exciting, like we came here last year and it's so fun.
Invite only, exclusive and pricey, $50,000 a ticket. This year, honoring the work of Karl Lagerfeld, despite criticized remarks he made about race, women, and the overweight before his death in 2019.
We've all put our foot in our mouths, so, why should he be any different than anybody else?
But whether you're on the guest list or, like most of us, not, it is a chance to take in an only in New York spectacle.
You see all the costumes, all the gowns. Everyone looks, sometimes, by the way, I don't know who they are because they look so different. I'm just like, hi, have we met? And I was just on your show yesterday. I go, yes, of course.
Now, another high-profile event that will have all eyes on the fashion is the coronation of King Charles III. And while his guests may be decked to the nines, King Charles himself is taking a more historic and traditional approach. CBS's Ian Lee reports from London.
Royal traditions run deep in Britain, and how one dresses can make a historic mark. So clothing a king for the coronation takes precise planning.
These are two of the most significant pieces worn by the sovereign during the investiture. They haven't been worn for 70 years.
When King Charles is crowned at Westminster Abbey, he'll wear the same royal robes his mother, Queen Elizabeth, donned for her coronation in 1953. The monarch is on a mission to create a sustainable event.
His Majesty the King has decided to reuse pieces from the coronation of his grandfather, King George VI, in 1937.
Including this ceremonial coronation glove,
which is placed on the king's right hand during the investiture.
We've got this wonderful, sustainable, eco-friendly king who's reusing something rather than having a new glove.
The king will also reuse his grandfather's sword belt, which will be placed around the glittering garment known as the super tunica.
It is woven from cloth of gold and embroidered with goldwork embroidery to a design which has a strong tradition.
The golden robes weigh about 13 pounds, and the king's 9-year-old grandson, Prince George, will help carry them as his grandfather is crowned monarch. Ian Lee, CBS News, London.
Would totally rewear my family heirlooms.
I know, right? I'm so excited to watch the coronation as a whole. It's going to be a fun time.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Well, if you haven't heard of him by now, Iam Tongi is an 18-year-old from Kahuku who is absolutely crushing it on American Idol. Check it out.
I hear babies cry and I watch them grow. They'll know much more than we'll ever know.
Yeah, we all know that tune, right? He sang a classic, What a Wonderful World, and paid tribute to the late Hawaiian musician Israel Kamakawiwa Ole, also known as Brother Is. Now, with an ukulele in hand, Tongi's soothing voice left the audience awestruck, clinching him a spot in the top 8. So we're going to find out Sunday if he makes it to the top 5. Of course, it's up to America to vote. I think he could take the whole thing, honestly. He's awesome. And his story just resonates with so many people. Yeah.
Well, we are
I don't
definitely
watch
rooting for him.
it a lot, but I watch for him.
Yeah, go out and vote, guys. Details on how to vote is posted on our website, hawaiinewsnow.com. We want to end today with a big mahalo to our viewers for sending in your May Day photos. Of course, yesterday was May Day, and it was a great time all around with celebrations across the island. Thank you all so much for watching. This is Now. Ashley's back, first at 4.
Aloha.